Welcome to Character Creation, where we build your favorite fictional characters to play in Vampire the Masquerade. Today, we're going to be creating the famous wandering samurai of the Meiji era, Kenshin Himura. We'll be using all official books, focusing on Dark Ages mostly. For those who would like the character sheets for these builds, I will be making them available in our Discord community. Check for the link in the description for that. Our goals for making our character include being good at Bato Jutsu, or just general swordplay. It's important, and it's basically our main skill. Secondly, speed is a main factor for our character. We've got to go fast. And finally, acrobatics. Have you seen us? We bounce from the walls to attack people. Starting off with our basic features of nature and demeanor, for our nature, we'll be taking penitent. We've done some things we regret, and we're trying to make up for it, and that means no more killing. Hope we don't frenzy. We've seen some pretty grim things in our time, even as a child. The world is a dark and cruel place, but we're naturally caring, and we want to see other people's lives improve. We'll be taking Martyr for our demeanor for that very specific reason. For our clan choice, today is going to be a hot take for sure. Some are going to love it, some are going to hate it. That's right, folks. It's Cative. We're taking this clan because I'm just yanking your chain, folks. We're taking Bruja. Our boy is secretly angry, and when he gets angry, he has a tendency to ruin things. Add on incredible speed he displays so often, as well as his powerful presence. Yeah, I just did that. It's clear that Bruja is a great pick. Plus, Bruja always fight for what they believe in, and we definitely did that and still do. For our generation, we're going with 7th. This puts us firmly in the Elder region and allows us to have a 6 trait cap for stats. This of course grants us Elder powers. We're mainly looking for dexterity, melee, and celerity here, though in the future things like aspects might be nice too. Moving on to attributes, as a quick side note, it's been pointed out that I forgot to do specialties. Well, I'll be honest. I don't like attribute specialties. They're vague, confusing as to what they mean, and can't apply to, so you're welcome to pick your own. However, I do love ability specialties. And for that, my bad. I appreciate everyone's feedback thus far. Keep it up.
My bad? That's all you have to say? What about I'm sorry? Ever hear of those words before? They're the same words the doctor said when he handed you to your mother.
We're a quick one, and combat is our specialty, so we're going to go with physical as our primary. As the fastest man in the streets, we're going to start with 2 strength as we're not physically the most powerful person. Our skill and raw speed make up for this. Next, our major focus in attributes is going to be dexterity with a total of 5, because this determines our ability to hit, and we want to do that often. We'll wrap this up with stamina at a total of 2, and we're fairly average in our toughness. We take a lot of hits, but mostly we're skilled at blocking or avoiding them outright, not so much taking them head on. The secondary attributes will be going with our mental. Being able to read the moves of your opponents and quickly counter an ambush requires some pretty sharp perception, so we'll be taking 3 points total in that. On to intelligence, we'll take a total of 2 here. We're an average guy in intelligence with some specific areas of knowledge, but at the end of the day, we're not the thinker or plotter of the group. We're more of a doer. Asking us to plan something besides an attack is going to have us saying, "Oh no." With our last few points, we'll be giving wits a total of 3. We're pretty graceful and able to react quickly in situations, and this along with our high dexterity lets us do just that. Moving on to our final attribute selection, our tertiary choice is obviously social. We're likable, but we're not an incredibly strong force of personality. So in this category, we're going to be going with a total of 2 in charisma to start with. We're capable and liked by our friends, but not everyone appreciates us. And all that killing we did, hell, we don't even appreciate it. As for manipulation, we rarely are anything but honest, so this will have a total of 2 as well. And finally, we're an average looking person in terms of attractiveness, though we definitely stand out with the red hair and scar, so an appearance of 2 will have to do. For our abilities, we'll be taking talents as our first choice. This group covers a number of skills, and for the most bang for our sword, we'll want to get the most points in here. Starting off, we want our alertness to have 3 dots. We're quick to catch on to an ambush. We're usually the target of one, and at one point we were the one doing it all the time. We know how they think. For our specialization, we'll take ambush. We're used to them after all. Athletics will get a total of 3 as well. We're skilled at jumping and moving around like some kind of monkey, perhaps of the spider variety. For our specialization, we'll be taking tumbling. We're pulling some wild acrobatics all the time, and this just makes that better. With awareness as our next choice, we'll be taking 2 points. Our generally sharp senses lend us to being able to pick out other things that we might not notice, even if it's someone playing dirty and using mystical abilities on our girlfriend. Rip Janae. Janae. We're still learning, but we're incredibly empathetic to others and their plights, even when they're not exactly sincere, so a single dot of empathy will do here. Next, we'll be grabbing 3 dots of intimidation. We're the Batosai, the famous manslayer. Though we don't want to kill anyone, being able to leverage that fame to make people flee is something we'd prefer that it is. For our specialization, we're grabbing stare downs, as this helps enhance our chances of making the enemy flee in fear, at least the weaker ones. Finally, we'll take a dash of subterfuge for 1 dot. We're famous, so being able to disguise ourselves poorly with just a straw hat should suffice, right? Right. Next, we'll be working on our skills. We'll take a single dot in Animal Kin. We're able to be around animals without much issue, and sometimes we hitch a ride from a horse. This can be mildly helpful, and honestly, we need to be able to spread out our skills. We've got 9 to spin here, and we're only allowed 3 at this point for any one of them. Next, our winner, sword dinner. I don't know. Melee is getting 3 dots, because we're an idiot disciple who didn't finish our training and ran off to fight in a war. We're going to take a specialization in katanas, which will of course lend itself to the Sakabato or reverse blade sword. Go ahead, dub versus sub kids, fight it out. We'll take a dot in ride next to complement our animal kin. We should always complement our abilities. They're for us when our dice aren't, after all. Stealth gets some love. We were an assassin once, and will rightfully need it to have gotten to those pesky targets we're so famous for having murdered. Finally, we're a wanderer, and we'll need to be able to survive on our own, avoiding that sinister sunlight. Moving on to knowledges, we've got 5 points to blow, so we'll take a small dip into Hearth's wisdom to start with 1 dot. We've lived in an era that definitely had its share of bits of knowledge and superstitions, and our next pickup is investigation for 1 dot. We definitely need this as an assassin so that we can be sure we'll have at least some chance of figuring out clues left for us when it is needed. Next, we're going to grab some law so that we know who is following the law and breaking it. We'll snap up some medicine next with 1 dot so that we can properly bandage ourselves and others, just in case we're not able to prevent their injury in the first place. Finally, we'll take a dot in politics, because we've worked for the Meiji government during the war, and with all that politicking, at least some of it had to rub off on us, right? On to disciplines. We'll be grabbing 2 dots in celerity to start things off. We're quick as they come, and this helps solidify that fact. We'll grab a dot in potence for that extra oomph when we strike with our sword. We're a vampire now, we might as well have some help in this category. Finally, with a single dot in presence, we can definitely impress others even more with our sweet sword skills. Moving on to backgrounds for this category, you guessed it by our earlier selection in generation, we're going all in on generation.
Yes! Yes!
We're a quick one, and having enough blood points to fuel our quick feats is something we need. For our past, we've chosen humanity. We've got a lot of issues, and we've done some things we're definitely not proud of. Sorry, Tomoe. We've made a vow to never kill again, and we're gonna uphold that. Well, we'll try. So, humanity it is. For our virtues, we're grabbing 2 dots for a total of 3 in conscience to start us off. As we're a reformed mass murderer, we're trying to not do the bad thing anymore. Next, we'll go for a total of 2 points in self-control. We're not the best at restraining the Batosai side of ourselves when the pressure is really applied. And finally, courage is gonna get a full 5 points. As a lone assassin, we've waded into fights against dozens of men and never flinched. And now we're doing it without a weapon that can kill. Starting off in willpower, we get 5 points from our courage, which is great because we don't need someone like Janae showing up after death and pulling his shenanigans again.
Shenanigans. I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
For our freebies, we're going to start off with some merits. And starting that off, we'll grab efficient digestion for 3 points. As for why, well, you'll see when we get to flaws. Just know it's a bit of freebies shenanigans.
You mean shenanigans? Oh. You're talking about shenanigans, right?
Our calm nature justifies inoffensive to animals for 1 point, and really, we're just here to improve our chances to pet a couple of good boys and girls. Moving on to our discipline purchases with freebies, we're going to be buying another dot in presence. This gives us the ever lovely Dread Gaze, and it's a great go-to for forcing opponents to flee. We don't want to kill others, so this is a good option for that. And we bought a few points into intimidation, so it'll actually be halfway decent, even with low charisma. Next, for an attribute purchase, we're going to be buying another dot of dexterity because we're fast as lightning. Next, for some more abilities, we'll buy another dot in melee for a total of 4. We're highly skilled, one of the best, but our master is still way better than us. We are an idiot disciple after all. Next, as our last freebie point, we're going to be buying a 6 dot of willpower to better thwart those pesky supernatural mind games others tend to play. For flaws, we're so considerate of others that we'll absolutely be taking ethical prohibition for 2 points, as we're against harming humans, but we'll need blood to survive now, and animals are a fine choice. Chances are we're not in Japan, so we'll also be taking outsider as a good 1 point flaw representing that fact. If you are still in Japan, find another flaw. Finally, we'll be taking 2 different enemy flaws, both for 2 points. One is enemies Shinsengumi, while the other is enemies Oniwaban. So, how did this build come out? On the pros, we're the Bado sign. We're unmatched with the katana. Even the reverse blade sword won't slow us down much. And honestly, we're as sharp as they come. We'll be able to notice the small details when we're going to be attacked, when we're also trying to do anything else like reading our opponents and ending a fight. We can end fights non-violently, which can be incredibly useful in certain situations, whereas lots of players have not planned for that. On to cons, we lack any real sort of range. We also have a limited knowledge. We have so little knowledge, and most of it that we do have is fighting or related to it for the most part. We have no background tools either. We've limited ourselves with just generation, so we're lacking allies, retainers, and really anything that would help us. It fits the character, but it is still a negative to be aware of. We've also got enemies in low places. We've made a lot of people mad as an assassin. Who'd have thought? Most have disbanded by now, but they're still not over it. Thanks again for watching. If you think we've forgotten something here or know of alternatives, by all means, post them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you didn't, let us know with a dislike. We make one character a week. Tune in for next week where we try to make a better world for our little sister.